Grown Black Woman Success Podcast, a conversation about the joys and challenges that come with achieving success, all from a grown black woman's perspective. I'm your host, Leslie Denman. Let's get this conversation started. We're talking about 8 things we are no longer doing in 2021. 8 things we are no longer doing in 2021. As we prepare to say goodbye to 2020, it has really been the best of times and the worst of times. This is the last month in the first year of the 21st century, and it is one for the record books. And so we are preparing to embrace and enter into a new year, even though we may be embracing a new normal. Let's prepare for it, heart, mind, body, and soul. And here are 8 things we're no longer doing in 2021. Number 1, we are no longer making bold accusations without first having a brave conversation. Now, I'll say that this is probably one of the biggest challenges that we face as women, as black women. Is if we have an encounter with someone that is less than ideal, we go talk to everyone else about it other than the person that can really do something about it. Oftentimes people are going through things and they're not even aware that they're coming off short or that they are handling you a little rough. They're not aware. It's not personal against you. They're just going through something personal. And so before you go on social media and try to throw shade or make those little subtle messages, why not have a conversation with that person? Because there may be some things that you don't know. And by having that conversation, you learn something that will cause you to say, you know what, I was wrong for that. I was finna create a whole level of drama when all I really need to do is pray and be there for this person. So in 2021, we are no longer making bold accusations without first being brave enough to have a conversation. Number 2, and I've said this before, but every year it is something that we need to set the intention for, and that is we are no longer disassociating with people based on their experience with someone in our circle. Those are the things that we did when we were in high school. We are now grown black women. And just because someone in our circle has had a bad experience doesn't mean that we disassociate from that person. We must use wisdom and we must use our own mind, because we can admit that some of us have friends that don't get along with anybody. Some of us have family members that can't get along with anybody. So what are you going to do? Go around disassociating with everybody because of this person? No, you are going to use wisdom and you're going to be a grown black woman about it and realize that's the issue between you two and it has nothing to do with me. Now, there are certain situations and circumstances where we need to distance ourselves. If someone has shown that disruptive behavior, they show that their intentions are not pure, then yeah, you might want to. But just because, no, we're no longer doing that in 2021. Number 3, we are no longer denying the fact that we are not okay. It is okay to not be okay. We all have those days. And this was tough for me, but I have come to realize that it is okay to not be okay. There are certain days when you just don't feel like it. There are certain days when you do have a lot on your mind and you just need to distance yourself, just deal with it, and it is okay. It is okay to not be okay in 2021. All right, we can't be strong 24/7. And by acknowledging that you are not okay is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. All right, number 4, we are no longer making self-care an option. I'm all for getting manicures and pedicures and massages and facials and going on vacation and hanging out with your girl, just relax and unwind. But we're going to go a little deeper than that in 2021. We're going to make sure that we're good socially, emotionally, mentally, even if that requires getting some professional help. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Even if that requires us getting some professional help. I know that there is this stigma in our community when it comes to mental illness and depression and just overwhelm. It is okay to seek out professional help to bring peace to your mind. And don't let anybody tell you any differently. So in 2021, we are no longer making self-care an option. When you take care of yourself, you are better able to take care of those that you love. Number 5, we are no longer having our negative emotions on full display on social media. We all have not so good days. We all have some downright bad days. But that does not mean we have to let the whole world know about it. So if you're going to share your experience that you're going through, share it from a place of learning. Make it a teachable moment. Don't have a complete meltdown on social media. You're better than that. But again, we do all fall short. And so if you do happen to have a meltdown, there is this beautiful thing called delete on social media. Use it, okay? Because we are no longer having our negative emotions on full display on social media. Number 6, we are no longer taking our frustration out on our babies. It is not your child's fault that you do not have enough money. It is not your child's fault that you don't have enough gas. It is not your child's fault that there is not enough food in the house. It is not your child's fault that you are lonely. It is not your child's fault that you are frustrated and overwhelmed. And it is not your child's fault that they look like their father. So we're not taking any of that out on our children. I tell you, one of the things that break my heart the most is if I'm out somewhere and I hear somebody cussing out their children. I'm thinking to myself, did your parents cuss you out? And if they did, how did it make you feel? And so you want to repeat the pattern by cussing out your children. And so we think that when we cuss out our children, that they somehow are not going to grow up and learn that that's how they get your attention and that's how they deal with their emotions. We don't think they're going to grow up and cuss people out. Like, really? And then we act like we're shocked when we're out and about and we see young people cussing like it's a second language. We're not going to do that. If that means that you need to learn how to communicate better and more effectively, do that. And again, if that means that you need to get some help to deal with your anger and frustration, do that. But we're not going to take our frustration out on our kids. They don't deserve it. They're better than that. Because what happens is they love you as their mother, but they grow up and they don't like you as a woman and as a person. And you'll see that because when they leave home, it'll take almost an act of God to get them to come back. Why? Because you're always mad and angry and you're frustrated and they don't want to be around you. And so we're going to fix that right now. We're going to do the work to make sure that we are no longer taking our frustration out on our children. Number 7, we are no longer waiting to be invited, included, or validated. Now, y'all know how I feel about this one. Honey, the fact that God created you and the fact that you're still here means that you have been validated. You are not waiting for anybody to invite you to the table or to include you in their circle. Honey, you're going to create your own circle and you are going to build your own table. You are good enough. Quit waiting to be invited, included, and validated. Number 8, we are no longer blaming others. We are taking full responsibilities for our life, and we're going to acknowledge the choices and the decisions that we made or failed to make that have us in our current situation. So we're not blaming others. And I would dare to say that you have in your life what you wholeheartedly believed and you spoke it into existence. If you're sick and tired, if you're frustrated, if you feel like nobody loves you, all of these things are things you're speaking. So if it's showing up in your life, it is because you manifested it. So if you don't like it, faith something else. Yes, faith, F-A-I-T-H, faith something else. Because we are no longer blaming others in 2021. Now, girl, let me spill some tea. There was an incident at True Kitchen and Cocktails in Dallas. I mean, honey, it went viral. It made the news. Now, let me give you a little background, and girl, then we're going to talk about it, okay? So, True Kitchen and Cocktails is kind of like a place where you can get some good soul food with a touch of class. And I say touch of class meaning that, and I'm not being funny when I say it, it's kind of like an upscale like event. I see the vision for what it is that he wants to bring forth for his community. And I've been there and I had a great experience. So apparently one evening the DJ was there and he was doing his thing, and the song he played unleashed a twerking spirit in the atmosphere. Okay? There was some young ladies there, and apparently the music just infiltrated their soul, and honey, they got up out of their seat and stood up on furniture that I'm sure if they damaged, they were not prepared to pay for, but they got up there and they were twerking. Now mind you, I said this is a restaurant, so they were asked to stop one time. They were asked to stop twice. Apparently the third time, the owner comes out and he is hot. He goes off. Now, I'm not justifying his behavior, but we have to understand as black women how our men react and respond when they feel disrespected. It's like you are in his house and you got up on the furniture and you twerking in a place where other people are trying to eat. So yes, he's hot and he let it be known, okay? I mean, he went off. So much to say, listen, I'm trying to create this nice place for us to experience as a race of people, and you are not going to come in here and disrespect it. This is not a place like so-and-so. This is, you can do that over there. And at this place, girl, he called out names and everything. And if you don't like it, honey, take your money and you can go. Now, I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that was the situation. And girl, everybody had an opinion. They started firing off right, left and right. Some in agreement, some not in agreement. Some people like, if you don't want people to twerk, don't play the music. And I'm like, isn't it like saying the devil made me do it? Right? Because I know if they go certain places other than that and the music and stuff come on and certain music come on, I know they don't respond that way. No, they don't. You can't tell me that, right? So everybody had a thought and opinion. Some people, he's very unprofessional. He should have handled it differently. And maybe he did. Maybe he could have. But this is an opportunity for those who are business owners and have these personal development and all of that. Go and help a brother out. Right? Don't try to, but some people even talked about boycott and never going back there again. And I'm like, now here's a man really trying to do something good for his community, and you want to boycott him, but y'all buying all these albums and going to all these concerts where they are openly degrading women, and you're okay with that. It's like, where is redemption in all of this? This is a man, again, building this business, and we all know what our core capabilities are. We know what we have the capacity to do. And maybe he's a guy that is the CEO or visionary. And then you have individuals who are people. Then you have people who are your systems and processes people. And maybe he's building his team and he ain't got there yet. But he came out to address the issue that could have been solved if first the ladies act like they had some home training and realize when you're in public, I don't care what kind of music come on, you don't get up and twerk. Certainly don't get up on the table. I mean, I'm all for it, and I've done it myself, been guilty of it myself. So music come on and it's something I like, I dance in my chair, hey, but all done with taste and respect. I'm certainly not finna get up on some furniture in public and twerk. I mean, really. So again, everybody had an opinion about it. It's very unprofessional. He was wrong. They was wrong. And then some people ain't never going back there. The food wasn't that great and stuff. And I'm like, we are something else. We are something else. I love my people, but we are something else. But that's the reason why I wanted to share that with you, girl. I wanted to spill that tea. But I wanted to talk more about the young ladies that felt like it was okay to do that. Like, where do we do that at? I mean, you do that at the club. You maybe do that at the strip club. Again, no judgment. You have to do that at home. But in public where other people are trying to enjoy a good evening, you feel like it's okay to get up on somebody else's furniture and twerk. Ladies, we as grown black women, we must set a better example for our sisters. See, I grew up in a time where you just didn't do that. It's kind of like your name meant something. And then there were just certain things you didn't do as a lady. And I'm like, I don't understand. And again, to say that the music made you do it, that is how I feel like we've let down our generation when we try to justify what's wrong. Wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter what happened after that, because that whole incident could have been avoided had those young women carried themselves as young women. See, I grew up learning how to keep my mouth shut when no one was talking to me. And so certainly if somebody has asked you to stop doing something, you go 3 times, honey, you know that didn't happen in our house. My father got frustrated if he had to repeat himself. When we learned how to keep our mouth closed, even when we wanted to say something, that taught us respect and discipline. I grew up where you could get mad at your parents and stuff and get frustrated, but you would not dare let that come out your mouth until you got in your room with the door closed and made sure that they didn't hear you. That taught us how to manage our emotions. I grew up going to church. You hear me? It was not an option. We went to church. We sang in the choir. We served on the usher board. All of that, even when we didn't want to do it. But it is there that we were introduced to what it means to serve. And it is also where we were introduced to spirituality and faith. And many of us get through some of our toughest times. The toughest time we have in our lives right now is based on what we learned and experienced in the church when we were young, when we didn't want to go. But somehow we've gotten grown and decided that we're not going to raise our children like that. And as a result, we have a generation of young people that don't know how to manage their emotions. We got a generation that really can't handle rejection or receive the word no. We got a generation that is suffering in silence because they really have no spiritual life and no spiritual connection to God or anything else. Remember number 8, where we're no longer blaming others? Well, we can't blame this generation either, because my generation and the generation before me, we dropped the ball. We decided it did not take all of that and that we were going to raise our children different. Well, hello, this is what different look like. We've babied our men and they can barely change a flat. We set bad role models and examples for our young girls that they enter into relationships, abusive relationships. We did this. Now, this is not true of all of our young sisters, but it is true of enough of them that we know we need to do something differently. And it all begins with each one of us. If you're listening, it begins with you. It begins with us truly loving ourselves online and offline. So let's make a commitment right now to be better so we can do better. So, girl, that was the tea, girl. I had to share that with you. That happened right here in Dallas, True Kitchen and Cocktails. And really, you guys, it is a great place. I mean, there's a waiting list. And I share with people, listen, if you that frustrated, cancel your reservation. Let me know. I'll take your place because I need to try the lamb chops next. Okay. Anyway, quick recap. The 8 things that we are no longer doing in 2021. We are no longer making bold accusations without first having a brave conversation. Number 2, we're no longer disassociating with people based on the word or experience of a few people or a certain person in our circle. And number 3, we are no longer denying the fact that we are not okay. It is okay to not be okay. Number 4, we're no longer making self-care an option. Number 5, we're no longer having our negative emotions on full display on social media. Number 6, we're no longer taking our frustration out on our kids. Number 7, we're no longer waiting to be invited, included, or validated. And number 8, we are no longer blaming others. It is time for us to take full responsibility for our lives. If we want something different, then we need to speak something different. We need to believe something different, and we need to do something different. This is the season of the grown black woman. I hope you guys feel that. I hope you know that. This is our moment, and we must get in position, because what we do now sets the stage for the young women that are coming behind us. And I also wanted to let you know that I'm scheduling guests for the 2021 podcast year here at Grown Black Woman Success. Yay! I am so excited. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and continuing to tune in, for commenting and sharing. Keep doing it. And if you would like to be my guest to share your story or share your expertise, send me an email so we can schedule a time to have a conversation to make sure that we are a good fit, you can send that email to leslie@grownblackwomansuccess.com. Now, if there's a topic that you'd like for us to talk about, send me an email, leslie@grownblackwomansuccess.com. I hope you have found value in this podcast. No matter where you're listening, please leave a comment. Please share and tag me, and you'll be entered into a drawing to receive one of our custom Grown Black Women Success t-shirts, maybe one of our custom tote bags. What else? We're creating some different things for 2021, so you never know unless you comment and tag me. Okay, until our next conversation, chin up, shoulders back. Now strut girl, you know you got it like that.